If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and leave us a comment. We love hearing from you.
If you find that you're comfortable with doing magic loop, you can also try knitting your socks two at a time. So this is sort of a modified magic loop method. And as you can see, I have both of my socks started on one needle. This is a 40-inch cable. I would use at least a 40-inch or larger, but I definitely wouldn't go smaller. And essentially I've cast on one sock, and then I've cast on the second sock. I'll show you how to do that. When I go to knit this, I'm going to start knitting one side of sock 1, and then I'm going to knit one side of sock 2, and then I'm going to come around and I'm going to knit the other side of sock 2, and then I'm going to knit the other side of sock 1. So you're kind of going around in this little circle. This method is handy if you find yourself not wanting to knit the second sock. You can kind of get them both done in one shot. It's also handy if you want your socks to be exactly the same, because if there's like a lace in the pattern, or you want to make sure that you knit your heels and toes at exactly the same time, this is a great way to kind of do it all in one shot. So I'm going to show you how I cast that on. So to cast on for your socks two at a time, you're going to split your yarn into two balls. For this, I'm going to show the cast on in two different colors, just so it's easy to see what's what. But basically you would split your yarn in half so that you have two equal balls. Okay, so I'm going to cast on for the first sock. And I'm going to make sure that my I start on the needle that's closest to me, and this is Judy's Magic Cast On. So we'll do an even number on each side. 2, 4, 6, 8. We'll do 10. Okay, and you're going to end on the needle, the opposite needle from what you started on. So now, because I'm not going to knit this right away, I'm going to slide it down all the way on the needle, but I've got this, the last little stitch is kind of loose there. So what I'm going to do is when I slide it down, I'm going to put it on a little clip here just to kind of hold it so it's not going anywhere. Okay. And then when I start casting on for the next sock, I want to make sure that my needles are not flipped around. So you're going to make sure that you're starting on the left needle. So I'm just going to put this first yarn aside, and I'm going to cast on with the second yarn. So now this sock is the first one at the end of the needle, so that's the one I'm going to start knitting. And again, I've got this little tail here, so I'm just going to tuck that under and hold it with my finger. So now I'm going to pull my needle out like that, and I'm going to start knitting this side. Okay. And now I'm going to come to knit the first side of the first sock that I cast on. So we're just going to pull this working needle, pull this clip off, make sure that my little tail is kind of tucked away underneath. And this is where you're going to have to work out your own system of yarn management, because as you knit, you're going to be, you know, you're going to knit with this one and then you're going to knit with that one. So you'll kind of get to know the pattern of how the yarn is kind of moving through, and working out a way to kind of manage them so that they don't get tangled. So now I'm going to knit the first side of sock. Okay, and so you can see the beginnings of two socks. So now we're going to flip it around. And I'm going to knit the second side of this sock. So I'm going to pull this needle out. And because it's a Judy's Magic cast on, the first time you knit this second side, you're going to have to knit through the back loop, and that's just for the setup round. Okay, so as you can see, this is what your socks are going to start to look like. You're going to knit both of these in the round, but you're going to go in this longer loop. So we're going to be knitting. Okay, now I'm going to knit the second side of that first sock through the back loop. Okay, and now we are back to the beginning of the row. So because I'm using two different colors, it's easy to see what's happening here, but you may want to put a stitch marker onto, you know, sock one, just so that you can keep it straight which one is the beginning of the round, so that when you go to do your heels and toes or anything like that, you know that you're always going to be starting with the beginning sock. We're going to be knitting one side, two side, two side, like that. So we're going to be going in one big circle instead of two small circles. Hope that helps.